Are you guys ready for your headliner? Yeah. You heard your headliner on Find Your Beach podcast and also seen her on Comedy Central. Give it up for Rosebud Baker!
Okay, well, you guys just stopped clapping the second I got on stage. No, I deserved that. How are you guys doing tonight? This is so great. This is a sold-out show. We're back, right? This is fucking fantastic. You guys are the first people I've talked to today, so that's good. I was thinking about social anxiety. Yeah, I've talked to my friend. She was like, I have social anxiety. I was like, what does that mean? She goes, I'm just like afraid that I'm not like fun to talk to. And I was like, that's because you're not fun to talk to. Anxiety is a fear based on an unreal threat, and you're horrible at parties and just in general conversation. I don't know, I feel like, have you ever talked to somebody at a party with social anxiety? They come up to you, their eyes are like bugging out, they're just gesturing wildly. They look like they're on a horse that's out of control. You know, they come up and they're like, isn't this the worst? And you're like, yeah, it is now. This is awful. But I found out I had anxiety this year, and I didn't know that, all right? I didn't think I had anxiety. And then I realized that not everybody is worried about getting poisoned every couple of days. Yeah, I'll go out, and I'll come home, and I'll be like, I was drugged. And my husband will be like, I'm pretty sure you weren't. There's nothing, who would drug you? And I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. It seems legitimate to me at the point that I'm feeling it. Like, I literally will start convincing myself that I'm having some kind of mental breakdown. And then I go, I was drugged, because there's no way that I'm not logical. Yeah, and I guess some of you might see the point in that. Some of you might, the forgiving ones might be like, well, you could have been poisoned. And it's like, yeah, if I was a French dictator and not a fucking clown. Yeah, it's crazy. I've had a lot of time to get in touch with my feelings this year. You guys, how about you? Feelings? Yeah, I started going back to therapy for my anger issues. I have an anger problem. Well, I don't have a problem with it. Other people have a problem with it. I love it. Yeah, anger is my favorite emotion. It really is. Right? Thank you, one person who's in touch with themselves. It is. It feels good. You can say what you want about anger, but love never convinced me I was strong enough to rip the hood off a moving car, right? People say it's toxic. I'm like, so is cocaine. That shit feels amazing. So I finally accepted that I had a problem with anger when my dog got stung by a bee. And the first thing that I did was look for the bee. I don't know what I was gonna do, but I was like, I'm gonna fight this bee, right? And I found it, and then I stepped on it again, and it was dead. The bee was dead, and I was like, I'm gonna kill it twice for fucking with my dog, right? I'm like an angry person. I've got real diner waitress energy, Like, that's my vibe. This is not the way to start a show if I want to seem likable, but I kicked a man. I kicked a man last week. And I live in New York City, and a man was walking towards me on the sidewalk, and he was walking closer and closer to me, and I started edging away, and he was walking closer, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker wants to fight. And he starts walking, and then he walked into my dog, right? Again, the dogs are a trigger, all right? That's where I release my shit. So he kicked my dog. He sort of like just kicked it away. Not hard or anything, but still kicked my dog, right? So I stood there for a second, and I was like, I can either go about my day and pretend that this didn't happen, or I can fight this man who's 6'2" and looks like a Russian gymnastics coach. And I did. I just started following him. There's a guy who works for FedEx who watched this entire thing, and I really wish I could get in touch with him. I would love to hear his reenactment. But I stood there for a second, and then I turned around, and I just started following this man. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm about to do. But I got to him very quickly, and I just kicked the shit out of him as hard as I could. He's walking away. I just kicked the fuck out of his ankles, right? And he turns around, and he's like, he turns around with this big IKEA bag over his shoulder, and I just looked at him, I was like, fuck you! And I ran for my life. I just realized that I was way smaller than him, and I just ran for my life, and the FedEx guy was laughing at me as I was doing it. Just laughing at, yeah. I don't know why I told you guys that. I just needed to get it off my chest, I guess. I do hope that he died from ankle bruises, and I'm pretty sure he was homeless. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to tell you guys that because you would have not been on my side, but I am pretty sure he was homeless. And I texted my sister, I was like, I just did a really bad thing. I think I kicked a homeless man. And she was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you shouldn't kick homeless people. And I was like, well, I'm not positive he was homeless. I'm pretty sure he was grizzled. I go, I hope he's homeless now. I hope the hospital bills make him homeless from all the ankle bruises that I left. Anyways, the moral of the story is don't kick my fucking dog. I don't know, are we dog people in here? How many dog people? Yeah? I love dogs. Love them, they're better than us. They really are. I would do anything for my dogs. My dog got a dick infection. Yeah. I know, it's gross. It's crazy too, because I didn't even know I had anything. It's just a lighthearted joke about me fucking my dog. No, I don't, but I should, because he loves me. Yeah, he's very sweet. He's a sweet little idiot. His name's Charlie, and just real dummy, you know, just the happiest dum-dum alive. He's got separation anxiety. I took him to the vet. I was like, I don't know what to do. He's like licking the walls. And the vet was like, oh, you gotta get him on canine Xanax. Right? He's like, that's fucking stupid. But I did it, and it works, because I took one of those, and I am not worried about him anymore. Seems chill to me now. He does. Any of you guys get a puppy during quarantine? Yeah, one person? Wow, the rest of you have incredible impulse control. My friend got a puppy, and I went with him, so I obviously got a puppy too. Because I'm not capable of like seeing a dog that doesn't have a home and not taking it to my home. It's like, and I took this dog home, and she's so sweet. Her name's Mouse. She's a tiny little whore. Yeah, she's a North American dickhound, actually. That's her breed. You take her to the dog park, fucking pit bull gets on top of her, she looks back at it, disgusting. She's shameless. And I didn't know this, but I didn't know that dogs like get their periods like when they're 6 months old. I think that just is fucked up. I think that's a fucked up way to bring a dog into the world, you know? But she got her period, and I didn't know. I came home, I was like, why does it look like Jackson Pollock has been over to visit? And I didn't know this, and this is pretty disgusting. But dogs, I didn't know that their pussies get huge when they go into heat, all right? She's 5 pounds. Her pussy looked like Rocky's eye. It was... I was like embarrassed to bring her outside. I put her in diapers so people didn't have to look at it. I was like, this is my dog, and this is her beat up peach of a pussy. So... So fucking crazy. I don't, you know, I didn't know that how hard having a puppy was. I've always rescued a dog when they're like 2, so they're fucked up, but it's not my fault, you know? And I didn't know how impossible it is to fuck when you have a puppy. I didn't know. You know, they say that they compare like having puppies to having kids, and I'm like, if that's true, I'm gonna have to put my kids in a cage when I fuck. because this was impossible. We put her out of the room, and she just started screaming. Like human screams. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know if you've ever seen a cooking show where the buzzer's gone off, but they're just trying to throw the meal together anyway. That was the way we went at each other. We were just sloppily just banging genitals. Just get it done, you know? It had been 3 weeks. It was crazy. I get ahead of myself, though. Here's the thing. I fell in love this year, which is exciting. Not to anybody else. I mean, yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, falling in love it's like farting in public. You know? It feels good if you're the one doing it. Everybody around you is like, we live in a society. Just keep that shit in your house. Right? He's the first white guy that I've been with in 6 years. Yeah, so I went back. Not great timing. Feel a little guilty. Every time he makes me come, I feel like I yelled "All Lives Matter." I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yeah. But I feel like if I can stop one white guy from buying a gun, it's progressive in its own grassroots kind of way, right? White guys were losing their fucking minds. They still are, but like, yeah, they were really losing it. And I feel like we've all kind of, remember last summer or 2 summers ago, they like shot up that Walmart and it was like, what the fuck? It's like, let's start calling these guys terrorists, right? Because I feel like they're the same. It's the only difference between like some guy from ISIS and a white mass shooter is that ISIS are virgins by choice. Don't start groaning now. It's gonna get so much worse, guys. I do think it would be fucking hilarious poetic justice if some dude from ISIS did the deed, got to heaven, God opens the gates, he's like, here are your virgins, and it's just 72 white guys who have shot up a Walmart. God's like, now you have to fuck each other. Yeah. So I went back to white guys, and I do, you know, they say once you go black, you'll never go back. It's not necessarily true. It's that once you go black, you might go back, but white guys will seem gay. Yeah. It's tough to go from yelling Jamal to yelling Andy in bed. Doesn't have the same ring to it. And listen, I see a lot of straight white faces just staring at me coldly. I just want you guys to know, it's nothing personal. You guys are just very carefree. It's like the Pride Parade in your head every day, okay? It really is. I mean, we were in the car a couple weeks ago. He goes, we're like driving along, and he goes, I hope Froyo makes a comeback. I was like, okay, we're in a new world. It's a carefree motherfucker. I did miss how much you can make fun of white guys, though, because you really can go in, and that is my love language. Just roasting the man that I'm with, just verbally pegging him all day. I love that shit. I swear, it's so fun. He takes it so well, and he can give it back, too, you know? Like, I was like, he's my husband now, but like he's got a tremor, right? It just shakes all the time. Just handshakes, he can't help it. He's very weak, and so I'll just record him trying to eat soup. Because that's hilarious. Right? I mean, he's just trying. He looks like Bernie Sanders in an earthquake. It's fucking hysterical. I'm like, when you jerk off, do you finish too quick? It's my favorite thing. I can go in on it all day. So I'll just send him those videos in the middle of the day for no fucking reason. Just him struggling to eat minestrone. And he's very sweet about it. He'll be like, I'm gonna spank you for that. I'm like, you'd miss. Let's be honest. It is fucked up, yeah. But it's funny. No, he makes fun of me all the time too. We We got married a couple weeks ago. In the middle of his vows, he was like, people say in sickness and in health, and I agree, but unless you're a vegetable, and then I'll probably visit occasionally. He said that in our wedding vows, in front of our families. And it was hilarious. So I was like, all right, fair. He is a comic as well, which is great, because we're building a life on a foundation of laughter. And that's something you can't buy a house with. So it's really good. We got engaged on the 3rd day of quarantine. Yeah, not a great idea. 3rd day of quarantine, we got engaged. And I said yes, because I thought we had 3 months to live. Yeah. And then 6 months later, it's like, here we are. We got married 3 weeks ago in Washington Square Park. He's a very convincing guy, which is why I agreed to get married, where they shot the movie Kids. We're just getting married in the middle of a fucking heroin epidemic. I'm like, which thing are we battling right now? No, it was very sweet, and I loved it. My family was all there. I'm not a big fan of my family. Not a huge fan. Anybody in here like your family? Somebody silently applauded. You went like this. I mean, yes. Yeah, okay. I don't like them. I know we're supposed to, but I didn't pick them, so why should I? I know that family is considered a Christian value, but I don't understand why, because Jesus left his. Once he left Bethlehem, you don't hear about Mary and Joseph ever again. Yeah, Jesus never had to go home for Christmas in the middle of his shit. And then, once he leaves, he doesn't even, he just starts bragging about his fake dad in the sky. So that's how much he liked his family. Yeah, nobody likes somebody who brags about their family. Nobody does. We all saw how it turned out for him. My dad's the greatest. Okay, motherfucker. We gotta put an end to this. No, I don't know. I think the reason why Jesus didn't go back to his family is because he was busy. He was doing cool shit. And you can't do that with your family around. Because they'll ruin it. They will. Whatever you're excited about, they'll just poke a hole in that shit. Watch it fucking drain right out of you. Yeah, and I have 4 sisters, if you can't tell already. But yeah, they do that. And I don't think you could, if I was Jesus, I couldn't turn water into wine with my virgin mom there. Being like, should you be drinking right now? It's before noon. Okay. I came from a really big family. My family's all from Texas. I'm from DC originally, but we breed like Southerners. So my family had 5 daughters because they were trying to fix the marriage with a boy. And that didn't work out, okay? 5 girls, nobody had the upper body strength to keep that marriage together. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love my sisters. They're very cool. We're very close. We've been through a lot, And I think part of loving your family is just really fucking hating them, That's you can't hate somebody without loving them first, right? So that's how it is with my family. We're very close, but we fight like motherfuckers. We really do. We went through a lot, at a young age. I had a sister who passed away. She passed away 18 years ago. Don't tighten up. Don't get weird, all right? 18 years ago. Everyone's fine. Especially her. Okay? Because listen, I've never been dead, but I could use a forever nap. She is not missing out on anything right now this year, okay? Yeah, anyways, she's the sister I get along best with. She's a good listener. Yeah, don't cover your face. It's not your tragedy. Whenever I tell people about this, they always get real weird. They get so fucking weird. They go, how did she die? They knew her, I'm like, she drowned. And then they go, how did she drown? I'm like, it was water. It wasn't Willy Wonka's chocolate river. What the fuck? Actually, it was a waterfall of cum. You know what I mean? But that's not what they don't mean like, where did she drown? What they're asking is, well, they're not asking like, how did she drown? They're asking, where did she drown? And they can't really ask it like that, because then it just sounds like they're gonna go look for her. So I feel their pain, you know, but I hate filling that part in. I hate it because it throws the story off. Because here's the thing, it was tragic what happened and it was awful, but it was like, my sister drowned in a jacuzzi, which is like the most festive place to drown. You know what I mean? It's not, it's COVID. Yeah, so like, it throws the story off, you know what I'm saying? Because if you hear a story where somebody dies in a boating accident, right? And then you hear it's a private yacht. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you go, nice. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, I feel like a jacuzzi's where I lost my virginity to make it special. And she took that from me. So who's the real victim? I have a very dark sense of humor, guys. I really do. It's what happens when you go through death at a young age. If you've been surrounded by tragedy, if you just get this kind of like graveside sense of humor, and that's really true. Like that's a phrase, but it's a real thing. Because I remember being at my sister's funeral, turning to my other sister and going, "Hey, why are we all wearing black?" And she goes, "It's to honor the dead. Okay? It's what the dead would have wanted." And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, 'cause I feel like if we're thinking about what the dead would have wanted, we'd all be wearing life jackets. Right. You guys think that's bad. Oh my God, we are like 15 minutes in right now. I don't know what to tell ya. No, we'll sprinkle in some light jokes about Tinder or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I just have like a casual relationship to death because I've had it in my life, you know? So like I remember a couple of years ago I had to put my cat down, which was sad, but she slept 22 hours a day. It's like 2 more hours. I said that to the vet. I was like, she's doing what she loves. I can't be bothered. I mean, I know I seem heartless, but like, I've had dogs and I'm more of a dog person. You know, I've had to put a dog down before, and let me tell you something. Normally when you put an animal down, you can sense when their soul leaves their body. I don't think cats have one. My cat didn't. The only way I could tell my cat was dead was that she was letting me hold her. I was like, does she like me? Oh, she's gone. She checks out. Just kick a dead cat. No, I'll get back to the light stuff. I'll talk about how I fell in love. So I did. I fell in love with my now husband about 11 months ago, and he's great. I don't know how I fell in love with him. People ask me. They go, "How did you guys fall in love?" And it was like we were dancing at a wedding, and he was embarrassing me, right? Because he's the whitest. He dances like a fucking deck chair blowing in the wind. I'm like, how are you stiff and loose at the same time? It's like trying to defrost something in the fucking washer dryer. That's what it looks like. I mean, he's great. He's awesome. But like when people go, "How did you fall in love?" I'm like, I have no idea. He's not my type. I'm like, I just tell him the real thing. I'm like, basically, I wasn't attracted to him. And then we fucked and his face changed. That's what happened. You guys are not laughing because you know, if you're with the guy right now, it started that way, right? Or you thought he was hot and he's emotionally unavailable. I always loved emotionally unavailable men. That was like my thing. That was a challenge, right? We all love that. I was like, I'd be with a guy, he'd forget my name, and I'd be like, he's trying to throw me off. I'd be like, if you think your emotional distance is gonna push me away, I had an absent father. I've trained my whole life for this. I'm like a succulent. I thrive on neglect. I'm a terrifying girlfriend. Yeah, I went through a breakup a couple years ago. It was the longest relationship I've ever had, 5 years. It's a long time, right? Good enough. I mean, it was the longest I've ever made it, so it was time to wrap it up. And he was a good guy, he really was. But we had very different reactions to the breakup. He started fucking other people right away. I turned into the human equivalent of like that time that U2 put an album on our phones that nobody wanted. People would pick up their phone and they're like, oh God, it's Rosebud's sad musical. Yeah, and he just started fucking other people right away, which is often the case, right? Like a guy, he'll just get out there and, there's no wrong way to mourn, but that sort of feels like remembering 9/11 with a Jenga party. You're like, okay, that's inappropriate. And I knew it. I fucking knew it. The second it happened, I knew it. And nobody had to tell me anything. That's the thing with women. We just fucking know. You guys think you can lie to us? If you have sex with us one time, your memories are imprinted in our bones, okay? We know everything that you've ever done. Our bodies are like AI, right? Like we can breastfeed and our nipples will read a baby's saliva and adjust vitamin levels. Understand? We are the future. You guys piss and come out of the same tube. You're like God's beta version, all right? That's just a fact. So I knew right away. I was like, oh, he's fucking somebody. Because you know when your ex is fucking somebody else, the same way you know when something touches your foot in the ocean. You're just like, something invaded my space. And all your girlfriends are like, no, you're good, you're fine, we're having a good time. You're like, no, something is in my area. So I called him up. Mistake. Called him up, I was like, I know what the fuck you're up to. He was like, how the fuck would you know that? And I was like, we've been together for 5 years. There is so much of your DNA inside my body, I will never not know where the fuck you are. I was like, we're twins now. So I haven't talked to him since. No, he's cool. I'm very controlling. I'm a controlling person. And he called me out on that. He was like, you're very controlling. And I was like, well, I wouldn't be so controlling if you would do what the fuck I said. But, it is. It's like you got to accept. If you're a controlling woman, you got to accept it. You can't take offense to that, Because people ask me, they go, oh, how was the proposal? Did he surprise you? I was like, no, he didn't fucking surprise me. I orchestrated that whole fucking thing. I'm in my 30s. I'm swimming towards a life raft at this point. This isn't, I'm a princess, it's my day. This is the last seconds of me defusing a bomb. That's what's going on here. I'm like, I orchestrated the whole goddamn thing. It was basically a short film that I directed. And that's how it is. When you're in your 30s, because you don't want to fuck around anymore, right? You've met all the men. I've met all the guys that they're all just wearing a different pair of pants, basically. You don't need to try and people go, oh wow, you guys got married really fast. I'm like, yeah, we already know ourselves. It's not like, can you imagine in your 30s being like, I think I need some time to figure my stuff out. It's like, come on, you know what your shit is, I don't know where I'm going with this, really. I feel like I'm just having a bit of a breakdown. I'm being fully honest with you guys. Yeah, people said I was a bad bride at my wedding because they said I marched down the aisle like I was late for work. Just walking up like, what do you have? Like, it was very... And it's true, I don't feel comfortable getting that kind of attention, like the getting married and the attention that you get when they're like, dress yourself up like a princess and pretend you're a virgin. I'm like, come on, we know the windmill of dicks I fucking rode to get here. Even my dad was like, I'm surprised she can fucking walk. Here, take her. Thank God. Whew. You know they're relieved when they're happy you're marrying a comic. They're like, we didn't think she was gonna make it, I'll be honest. No. We're thinking about having kids. I'm thinking about having kids, because I'm pregnant. Yeah. Just kidding, I was when I wrote that joke. I was gonna jump off board on it because you guys weren't on my side from the get-go, but then I was like, well, I can't not finish this. I mean, I do love to finish things, obviously. No, I don't. I am pro-choice, obviously, but I do think that abortion is murder, and I'm fine with it. Yeah, I am. Because the way I see it, if somebody broke into your home and demanded 18 years of your income, you'd kill that person. And that would be a murder in self-defense. That's stand your ground law. I went to Planned Parenthood for my abortion. I went there and, yeah, I went there for a car wash. No, I went there, and that's a great organization. It really is. Like, they do so much. They do a little too much. I walked in, and they were like, would you like us to turn the lights down and play a little spa music? I was like, for my abortion? I was like, are you going to offer me Chardonnay, or what are we reenacting the scene that got me here? What's going on? I almost said yes, but then I thought about my next massage. I was like, I don't want to ruin two things I might love in one day. You guys are pussies. You're all cowards. It's bullshit. That's ridiculous. Now I just want to tell 17 more minutes of abortion jokes because you guys weren't on board. No, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say anything else about that. I feel like I've watched essentially everything that there is to watch, right? Every single thing on Netflix. Absolutely everything. I've watched the stuff that I grew up watching, you know? Any of you guys rewatched old childhood favorites? It sort of provided a sense of security when you were like, I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I watched like Disney movies that I watched growing up, and it's crazy to watch a Disney movie as an adult, especially as a woman, because you're like, oh, they lied to me. Right? Like, Disney taught me that a man was always gonna save me, and that's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, I should have seen a Disney movie where the princess had to save herself, right? Where she wakes up in a house full of dwarves and she's like, oh fuck, I got a drinking problem. I'm gonna need to take care of this, get myself in order, start loving myself. Right? Now, I've been sober for 13 years. 13 years, don't clap, I'll relapse, it's too much. I don't recommend it. Here's the thing that sucks about being sober is that every single holiday is just an excuse to get trashed. Nobody's celebrating Christmas like, no, I just really love Christmas. Like, nobody's going to New Year's being like, it's a brand new start. Like, they're going there to forget the year before. That's what it is now, right? And so as an alcoholic and as an addict, I'm sitting there knowing in my heart that I could do it better than anyone. So I just feel like a pro athlete that's been benched. Like, I'm just here for the love of the game. Yep. Just white knuckles, like I could just fucking level this room. You know what I mean? I'm such an addict that when I heard, this was 12 years sober, I heard there was an opioid crisis. My first thought was, holy fuck, we're running out of heroin. That was my first thought. I was like, we're running out of opioids. We're gonna have to make more because we're all gonna be robbed. I know way too many heroin addicts, and they will take everything you own. I don't know, man. I sort of got distracted just now. I went on a real tangent I was talking about Netflix, and yeah, so I've watched everything. I watched the Michael Jackson documentary, and I know I'm late on that. But so was the documentary. It's pretty late. Yeah, and you guys seem like a very sweet crowd that you might go to church on Sundays, and this is definitely going to ruin your night, this next joke. But here's the thing. I watched the Michael Jackson documentary with my sister, and my sister is very sensitive. She was like, we can't listen to his music anymore. And I was like, well, I can't guarantee that. I was like, have you been in the car when Thriller comes on? What, are you going to turn it off? You're going to turn Thriller off in the middle of it. What, do you just jump off a dick right when you're about to come? Absolutely not. Fuck that. She goes, if we listen to his music now, we're putting money into the hands of a pedophile. And I go, okay, well, first of all, he's dead, so he doesn't have hands. Technically, those were the problem. Little grabby. Second, I mean, even if he was alive and I was giving him money, it's not like it takes a ton of that to wine and dine a kid. You only need enough for a van and a bag of pixie sticks. You're good. It's a real low-profile operation. But I will say, Michael Jackson, he put in a lot of elbow grease. He really did. He put a lot of money into manipulating his victims, into, grooming his victims, and that stood out to me. I was like, holy fuck. Because he was like flying them in private jets and buying their parents' houses and befriending their families, and I was watching this as a 30-year-old woman. I was like, okay, he's kind of a gentleman. I mean, no straight guy has ever taken me on a Ferris wheel, let alone built me a whole goddamn amusement park in his front lawn, okay? That's incredible. I'm just saying, if there's anything positive we can take from this, it's that straight guys could take a note about the art of seduction from watching Leaving Neverland. Some helpful tips. All right? Listen, the target audience is different, but the tactics should be the same. Yeah, you want to be with us? Groom us like a pedophile would. I want to see pedophile motivation behind your game. I'm not going to get in your van unless it's a BMW. Right? And I'm not trying to make fun of pedophilia. I think that's a sickness, right? I do. I think it's a sickness. And I don't think that the way to cure a sickness is by telling the person who has it that they're a monster. That's not the way that I fucking think, right? Because I'm a drug addict, right? We're all sick in our own way. Like, I don't know, pedophiles, they want someone that's unavailable to them, right? So do I. They're just grown men. Yeah, the only difference between me and a pedophile is I fuck children my own age. I mean, every time I've met a guy with a podcast, I'm like, okay, I shouldn't. But I do love a challenge. All right, you guys have been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming out. You've been an amazing crowd. I love you for supporting live comedy. Thanks a lot. I'm Rosebud Baker. That's my time. Bye. And keep it going for your host.
Keep it going for Rosebud Baker, guys. Clap it up for Rosebud Baker. Round of applause for Stephen Hodge. I'll be Sanchez. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. You guys have a good time? Is anyone missing a selfie?